What are those things that really separate you, make you stand out, and are polarizing? Like, some people might hear them and go, I don't like that. I don't agree with that. I don't like that. Doesn't resonate with me. Doesn't align with me. That's good, because that many people that are doing that, there is just as many, if not more people who are like, they get me. Like, they understand exactly how I'm feeling, what I'm going through, what I want. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. I hope you guys are doing amazing. I am preparing to leave for Costa Rica in 2 days. I'm so excited. It actually feels unreal right now because I have so much to do before I leave. I actually this morning had to write out on a piece of paper and coordinate between my husband and my nanny, who I am so grateful for both of them, like the kids' schedules, because it's a lot. And when I used to leave, it'd actually be easier, but with the amount of like t-ball games, soccer practice, jiu-jitsu, it's like who's driving who and when. So I'm so grateful for their support, and that's just a small piece of all that has to get done before I leave. But I'm so excited to be back in the jungle, and I have such incredible women and female entrepreneurs that are coming to this retreat, and they have no idea the agenda. They have no idea what we're doing, but I have so many like guest facilitators and workshops and things planned. It's unreal. All right, so today, what we are talking about in the podcast is my predictions for marketing, being on the front lines, and conversations that we're actually having as a team right now on my team, specifically related to AI, I want to talk about, and then maybe a few other predictions. So first of all, with AI, I think that the direction we are heading in, the amount of importance that will be around messaging and your copy and your creative is going to massively increase, because it seems that the direction Meta, Facebook, is moving in is where they want you to be able to go in and set your ad and just set your budget and be like, go, like target all the targeting and everything up to Facebook and AI. Right now, obviously, you can go in and put parameters around interests, and you can put lookalike audiences, and we are seeing this trend towards this broad targeting where you actually set up the ad and you let Facebook choose who to show it to. Now, why messaging becomes really important in this scenario is because it's doing all the work, right? Like the messaging, the copy, and the creative, and yes, the algorithm a little bit in terms of Facebook knowing, okay, this type of person is who responds to your ad and your profile in general, but it's doing all the work in terms of attraction. And so I think we are seeing this shift where messaging has always been important, copy and creative has always been important, more important than targeting. It's going to be even more important, which is interesting because you've also got simultaneously AI, helping you create copy, helping you create creative and create graphics. And it's just not there yet where it can really do a good job with those things. I think that's my opinion. But our team does sometimes use AI to, not sometimes, like we can use AI to start the process in terms of copy and creative. But the thing is, it just is still like overly polished. And I know you can tell it like, hey, don't be overly polished, talk more casual, but it just doesn't have the heart behind it. And I don't know if it will get there. I know a lot of people think that it will, and it probably will, which is kind of sad. But right now, like the heart and the emotion in copy and creative still has to come from you and humans. Now, here's what AI can't do, and I don't think we'll be able to, I don't know. I'm not going to say never because I have no idea with AI, but you have to know your ideal customer's emotions, that pain, that frustration, and that desire, that deep, deep, deep understanding to be able to create the copy and create the creative. So I think that the level of specific copy and specific creative that we create that speaks to the pain points, the level that must improve is only gotten bigger. So I'll give you an example. We've got a client right now where they spend a pretty good ad spend, and we've been testing these more broad audiences with their targeting. And the importance of messaging has gotten so big that we have done entire hour-long meetings on just messaging angles, on digging deeper in the copy and coming up with creative that is different. And AI can't do that. And that is what's doing majority of the work when it comes to their ads. So I think that your understanding of your ideal customer, your understanding of them, and again, that emotional connection is going to continue to heighten with the rise of AI, because that's the thing that AI can't do. You have to feed that to them. And Facebook seems to be moving in this direction where they want you to trust them more and more, which means your copy and your creative is going to do the majority of the work. So that's one prediction, but it's like I talk about messaging all the time, and it seems like every year messaging just gets more and more important. That is because the noise gets louder. And as the noise gets louder, then the need to stand out becomes even more important. And the way you stand out is through your messaging. Another thing that I've been talking about a lot with clients and people I coach in my mastermind is the importance of polarity in your content and in your messaging. So this is related to messaging, but I want to say this because it might spark some specific ideas. Just today on a coaching call, I told a couple of people, I said, I want you to sit down and I want you to make a list of the things that, if you were in conversation about what you do and the results you get, but you were talking about your industry, you're talking shop, right? What are the things that you would be fired up about? You'd be like, everybody thinks this, but it's actually this. Or, everybody does it this way, but this is what they need to be doing, or this is what they need to focus on. Or I know everybody thinks that they need to try this, but it's actually this. So for example, something that I would say is I know everybody thinks they just need to go start ads and that's going to pour in the traffic, but really their problem is their messaging. And until they solve their messaging, then they're not going to stand out. And that's not maybe the most polarizing thing, but another polarizing thing I could say is the templates. Really, really harp on the fact that I don't think templates work for marketing. I don't think that you can take a template, use it, and execute it without infusing it with you. So what are those things? What are those things that really separate you and make you stand out and are polarizing? Some people might hear them and go, I don't like that. I don't agree with that. I don't like that. It doesn't resonate with me. Doesn't align with me. That's good. Because that many people that are doing that, there is just as many, if not more people who are they get me. They understand exactly how I'm feeling, what I'm going through, what I want. So I told my clients, make a list of those things and then let that drive your content and your messaging. And so my prediction is the louder the online space gets, the louder your industry gets and the people that are there supporting your ideal customers, the more need for polarizing content and really leaning into saying the things you're afraid to say because you don't want the backlash, because you don't want the judgment. It's hard as a creator, right? We're wired to be accepted and to fit in with the tribe and to not stand out. But as a creator, the more you can do that and stand out and not fit in, but walk your own talk, whatever, walk your own walk, I don't know, the better your content will do. So my prediction is that again, with AI, that is something that AI is going to have a hard time doing. Like those original thoughts and that original information is going to be really hard for AI to replicate. And so as you grow, I think like the volume of content is going to grow, right? Because you could use AI to like write books and write the blog posts and write all the content and create this like mass production of content. But it's not going to have the depth and the heart behind original thoughts and ideas. Like I don't know if AI is going to ever, I hope AI doesn't replace that and take that. But as the watered down surface content, as the creating a volume of content becomes easier, it's the depth and the wisdom and the original thoughts that are going to be extremely valuable. This is a side note because I don't think this is a prediction, but I was having this conversation with a friend when I was in San Diego who was like, I wonder if like our like trade secrets, our process, like the things that right now is taught in marketing to like share outwardly, right? It's like give a ton of value, overgive, people still buy. I wonder if it's going to flip and you sell that now and AI executes it. We're talking like 10 years down the line, but think about it. It's an interesting thought. Right now in marketing and in business, what works the best and what you're taught is, teach a webinar on your entire process, teach a webinar on what you're doing, and then people pay to have the shortcuts, pay to have it done for them, pay to have it in a product that makes it easier for them. But if AI were able to get to a place where all you had to do is feed it that idea, does it become where that's what's sold and then AI executes it? I don't know. I'm not going to say that's a prediction, but I do predict that in the next, maybe not 1 year, but the next 3 to 5 years, there's going to be a lot of shifts because of AI. And it's all the things. It's scary to think about. I don't like thinking about it. I'm like, but I'm comfortable here. I'm comfortable as it is without AI taking over, but it's inevitable. And so you've got to just kind of embrace it. I do believe at my core, I really do believe, part of it's like I hope, but I do believe that AI can't completely replace humans. Like there is an innate wisdom and a heart behind us that when you operate from a place of using your experience and your wisdom and your gifts, I don't think that can be duplicated with AI. So the question is going to become, okay, how do we amplify that more? How do we work with AI to make that valuable? And I don't have all the answers, but I do think, AI is going to make an impact. And these are some of my short-term predictions. A couple more predictions that I have. I think long-form content's coming back in the form of, like, there's a reason I'm doing the podcast like this. Not every one of my episodes is going to be an interview, but I think there's a reason why people like to just hear like real conversations. I think there's a reason that Joe Rogan's podcast, Theo Vaughn, Diary of a CEO, those are all massive podcasts, are becoming entertainment, are becoming news sources. I think that YouTube TV is going to become TV. People are going to get their news from influencers, are going to get their entertainment from influencers. And I think that people enjoy listening to conversations. And so there's a reason why this is part of my podcast. I've wanted to do this for a while, but it's like you can't fit in a good conversation in 20 minutes. So I still want to have the like actionable, short to the point podcasts, but I think that people enjoy the longer ones that like they can have it on in the background. And I had this realization myself because for the longest time, my husband listens to Joe Rogan. Yeah, I know, so controversial. My dad does. And I was always like, I do not understand how you are listening to like a 3-hour-long podcast. Like I could never do that. And then I started for fun because I went to the comedy club in Austin. I started listening to Theo Vaughn. I love comedy. And his podcasts are also long. And I was like, oh, I get it now. It's not about like consuming every piece of their content. It's like you have it in the background and you're laughing and you're hearing this conversation. But like if you miss 3 minutes of it because you zoned out, you know, your kid interrupted you, it's fine. You can still enjoy the content. Whereas like, you know, a podcast that's just let me teach you, like what I'm doing right now. Let me teach you this. You want to hear the whole thing. You kind of need to hear the whole thing to get the entire value from it. But a conversation back and forth that's maybe longer, but it's like watching a show, you don't have to hear every word. And I think that we're burnt out, right? We're overstimulated with information and knowledge. And I know I get to a place in my day where like there's absolutely no way that I could like read a nonfiction book, listen to a business podcast or a nonfiction book on Audible. Like I'm at my capacity, but I still want to consume because it is relaxing. It gives you something to do while not just like having to think. And so I think that that longer form but lighter content, but still valuable in the way like maybe it makes you laugh, maybe it gives you an idea, maybe it gives you inspiration, maybe you just like listening to people talk. I just think that's gonna be the direction that we go in. I mean, there's a reason that I have the podcast like this. That's another prediction of mine. And of course, that doesn't mean, oh, go start a podcast with that longer form content. But I think that people are at their max with information that they can take in, but yet still want to be entertained and still want connection. So how do you meet your ideal customer and garner their attention? Because attention is currency. So that's another prediction for this year. My last prediction is I think that we're going to have to get creative with getting leads to actually consume the free things that they signed up for, and or even shortening customer journeys. So I'm testing this right now and it is working. It needs some refinement, but it's working. So I'll share it with you, but know that it's in testing mode. So one of our goals that I shared on actually a previous podcast is to get more calls booked, more sales made in an evergreen way. And so I put myself in the shoes of the ideal customer that we're going after to get those calls booked. And I thought, you know, what would be the ideal experience for them? You know, yes, we could send them a lead magnet or a webinar training. And like, if they watched it, if they consumed it, they will have so much value, they'll want to buy. But when I put myself in the shoes of the entrepreneur who's overstimulated, exhausted, you know, is got too much information, too many decisions to make, a lack of time, a lack of capacity, a lack of energy, they need help, but they need the shortest route there. So we created a funnel that is basically the concept of like a VSL, a video sales letter, but it's a case study. And it's about a 10-minute video where I am walking through step by step the most successful client that we have, or one of our most successful clients, in like her entire strategy, step by step. And there's no opt-in. It's just like right on a page, no opt-in. And then it goes straight to book a business review call. So the call has value behind it. It's book this call and we're going to actually do a little audit on your business. And we're going to tell you on that call what you could do to improve your marketing. And we're getting a ton of calls booked. We have to improve our show up rate a little bit, which makes sense because these are cold leads who they don't really have much of a buy-in. Now, one thing we do on this strategy is we make it clear, like, don't book this call if you're not going to consider working with us. Like, we're going to deliver this awesome business review for you, but don't book the call if you're like just trying to get the business review. And we're doing cold traffic to that, as well as retargeting ads. And then I have another layer of like specific content ads for this ideal customer that we can then show this case study to. But it's interesting because it is working. And I think that we're going to go down this route of like, if you can connect with me enough as a potential customer, and you can connect with me enough to where I trust you then I'll take the next action. Even if that's buy, book a call, like I'll take that action, but you have to build that trust, and you can build that trust through content. But I think we're going to have to lessen the hoops that somebody has to jump through, and actually the duration of funnels, and then back it up with a bunch of consistent nurturing and consistent bringing you back to the offer. Now, I'm not saying for every business that the right thing to do would have like a no opt-in strategy at all. I am not saying that. I think it is a good strategy for me to test, and I do go to a book call. So that call is kind of serving as my webinar, but it's a custom, one-on-one experience with someone. So it's an interesting strategy, but regardless, I think my prediction is we're going to have to meet our audience and potential customers where they're at, which is overstimulated, overwhelmed, max capacity, lacking time, too much noise. And that's like one of the biggest challenges you're up against as an entrepreneur doing digital marketing, right? Because you've got to stand out, and you've got to be able to not just get someone's attention, but keep their attention and keep their engagement, and then get them to take actions. So the more we can meet them where they're at, the more we can make that easier, the more we can build the trust fast and the buy-in fast, and the I stand out, I am better, I am different than the other things that are out there, and I can solve your problem, because people still want their problem solved, but they're lacking time. The easier we make that experience, the less resistance, the less steps, the less hoops that we have to jump through to do that, I think the better it's going to convert. So that is another prediction. All right, everybody, I hope you found these helpful. Gave you some ideas for things that you might implement in your marketing. And if you're like, okay, I want this implemented for me, I need help, you can go to helpmystrategy.com and book a call with our team. I will talk to you on the next episode.